Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 3 of the Squid Game tutorial series. In this one today we're going to be creating a sprinting and stamina system with the UI on the screen so you can see when you run out of stamina. So let's get started. So here we are in the event graph of our BP third person character, and the first thing we need is 3 different variables. Number 1 is going to be stamina, just like this. So just click the little plus and create one for stamina. Then press Ctrl and D to duplicate it. And we're going to do max stamina. And then a third one is going to be sprinting. There we go. Is sprinting, just like this. And is sprinting is going to be type Boolean, and the other two are going to be type float. So let's just click the little drop down and select float. Just like that. Sweet. Now we can go to the IMC. Click the little drop down, click input action, and then rename this IA sprint. That will create a new input action. And then if we just click this little side arrow here, select the little keyboard, press left shift, that will be our button to sprint. So when we search for IA underscore sprint, not dash, IA underscore sprint, this will fire off the line of code. Sweet. So we're going to get a branch by dragging out and pressing B, and the condition is going to be is sprinting, just like this. Now let's drag out a false, create a new branch, and let's get the stamina by holding Control and dragging out of stamina, and get a greater than node, and plug that into the condition, just like this. So when we press sprint, we're going to check if we're sprinting. If it's false, make sure the stamina is over 0, and then we can do the rest. So let's set is sprinting to true out of the true value, get the character movement, and then we're going to search for max walk speed. Now we're going to be setting this max walk speed to whatever we want the sprinting speed to be. So for right now, it's going to be 750, but we will change this later. This is just a placeholder. So it should look something like this. Now we're going to drag out, get the stamina, and then search for a subtract node, and subtract by 0.05. Let's just do that for now. And we're going to connect this up. Not like this, so we need actually a clamp because we don't want it to go like above or below the value. So let's get the max stamina, and the max value is going to be the max stamina, and the minimum can stay at 0. So let's select all this, drag it down just like this. This basically just ensures that we never go above the max stamina limit. Okay, so we can just set the stamina again, and the return value is what we're going to set the stamina to. Let's just clean all this up here. Make it look presentable, just so when we come back later, it'll be a little bit more easy to read. So right here, we're going to create a new custom event by right-clicking and searching for custom event in the event graph, and we're going to rename this one stamina update. Now we need an event dispatcher for this one, so we're going to go into the left-hand column, click the little plus next to event dispatcher, and we're going to rename this on stamina used. Okay, there we go. So on stamina used, we're going to drag this out and it'll give us a couple of options. We're going to select call, connect this up to stamina update, and we don't need to do anything else here. Let's just move all this stuff up so it's easier to read. There we go. Okay, so out of where we set the stamina, we want to update the stamina. So we're going to call that a custom event that we just created. Then out of stamina update, the event, we're going to add a delay. And the time of the delay is going to be 0.5. On completed, we're going to get a branch. Check if we're sprinting once again. And then out of the true value, we're actually going to connect it back to this branch here. So it loops around. Now, out of the character movement, we're going to drag out and search for set max walk speed. And then the false value, we're going to set the max walk speed to 500. We will be changing these later, so don't worry about the values too much right now. Then we're going to drag out of stamina. We're going to get the stamina and get a plus node. Then we're going to add 0.01. And we're going to clamp it once again so we don't go above or below the value. Like this. Let's highlight everything Q to strain it up, and then once again the max value is going to be the max stamina, and the minimum will stay at 0. Now we need to set his sprinting and make sure that's disabled. Drag out, get a branch, then we drag out, get the max stamina, and we get the stamina. Just going to drag these over here, drag out of this, get an equal to, and the condition will be is stamina equal to max stamina. Now if the stamina is not equal to the max stamina, we need to set the stamina to the clamp that we just created. Then we're going to update the stamina by dragging in our little event. And that all comes out of the false value. We need to add another delay, and this delay is going to be 0.5 again. Drag out of his sprinting, and we're going to get his sprinting. Branch, once again. And then we're going to loop it round, just like we did last time, out of the false value this time though. Back into that branch that we created earlier. And then, okay, so we're going to do a little check here, and what I'm going to do is disable this IA sprint and just do like caps lock or something, or left shift. So I'm going to right click, search for caps lock, and we want this one here, not the debug one. We're just going to connect that into the branch for now and disconnect the IA sprint. Then the released is going to go into the set max walk speed, just like this. Now let's compile and save. And we actually need to set these stamina values, so I forgot to set them to 1 earlier. If you don't do that, nothing's going to work, so yeah. Now we can't really tell what's going on here if we're sprinting or if we're just running right now. And we can't tell if we're running out, so we're going to actually have to add some stuff on screen so we can actually see this stuff. So let's just go for event tick. Okay, so we're going to get the stamina, and then we're going to print string, connect it up to event tick, and drag the string into there so it converts it to a string. Now you can see the stamina on the left hand side, and it's just coming up as 1. And then when we hold sprint or shift, the stamina is depleting. Let's see how long it takes us to get to 0. And now that should stop us sprinting, but it's not. It's just replenishing the stamina instantly, so we're never actually going to 0 and we're never actually stopping the sprint. So let's fix it. Right, okay, so here, on the stamina value, we actually need to change this. And the subtract value is going to be 0.1. That's what we're going to use for now. And then when we sprint, we're depleting the stamina faster than we were a minute ago. But right now, it's still not working. We need to add some sort of delay before we can actually replenish the stamina again. So let me just change this to 0.2 so it does it twice as fast. Let's compile. And then in the delay here, out of the false value, we're going to change this to 1. So we're going to have a 1 second delay before we can actually replenish our stamina. So as you can see, it's depleting twice as fast. It gives us 1 second, and then it'll start regenerating our stamina. But we actually want it to pause so we cannot actually sprint whatsoever when we have no stamina. We don't want it to replenish after a second. So let's just drag this into started and completed and get rid of that caps lock. Let's click play and see what happens here. Now it did slow down, but just for like a split second, and I'm just spamming the sprint key right now, and it's obviously not working correctly. So let's just drag these up for now. Okay, so what I want to do is debug this in a different way, because it's obviously not working. So we're going to actually create a widget so we can actually display it on screen as we do it. So I've just created a new folder called widgets. We're going to right click, go to user interface, create a widget blueprint. It's going to be user widget, and I'm going to rename this WB underscore, what should we do? Should we do stamina or should we do HUD? We'll just do stamina, just for now. Okay, so let's actually change it to stats. I think we're going to be adding some stuff later to this, so we'll use stats for now. But we need to search in the palette. We're going to search for canvas panel, just like this. And we're going to drag it onto the WB stats, just like this. Then we are going to get a progress bar and drag that onto the canvas panel, like that. And let's rename this to stats, or stamina. It's probably better if you actually give this a proper description, so stamina progress bar will probably do it. It's just better for when you're searching it later when you need a reference to it. So let's actually just click onto our bar, and we're going to drag it down to the bottom left somewhere. And let's anchor it to the bottom left, just like this. And drag out of this side, just so it looks kind of normal, like you would see it in other games. Now you can copy my values if you want, but I'm kind of just freehanding this right now, so that's completely up to you. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to change some of these values so it's a little bit more in line. So I'm going to go 80 minus 153, 520, and the alignment, let's just do 0, 0, and for the percent, let's do it to 100. Oh no, 1, sorry, 1, because it'll be a value between 1 and 0. Okay, sweet. Make sure it's anchored to the bottom left. You can actually mess about with this a little bit more. It doesn't matter too much. Right now, we're just using it so we actually get some something on our screen so we can actually display how much stamina we're using. I do have a full video on making a main menu where I go into detail. We're making widgets, stuff like that, where you can completely customize them, make them animated and stuff like that. So if you want to do that, go and check that video out. Now we're going to go into the graph of the WB stats, our widget blueprint, and we're going to get the player character. Out of player character, we're going to cast to BP third person character, and then we're going to connect this up to event pre-construct, just like this, just so we get a reference to our character. Let's promote this to a variable, and align this. Sweet. Now let's just give this a different name. I'm going to do TPC underscore ref third person character reference. So let's get the stamina progress bar, and we're going to drag out of this, and we're going to set the percent. And we want the function, just like this, not the green one. Now we're going to get a reference to our third person character, the one we've just created, and we're going to get our stamina. Now the stamina from the third person character is going to be the in% of our set percent. So that basically links it to our stamina progress bar. We're going to rename this converting stamina to the stamina bar, just like that. Sweet. So what we've done, we've basically linked our stamina bar and our actual stamina in game. Next, we're going to get our third person character ref, bind event on stamina, just like this, and then the event, we need a custom event. So just click this. I'm going to rename it by pressing F2 on your keyboard. If you use a small one, it's FN and 2. I'm just going to rename this update for now. Let's connect these up just like this. And then we're going to copy these 4 nodes, and we're just going to connect it to the update. Make sure you compile and save so we don't lose any of our work. And let's go back to the BP third person character. Now if we just click play, we don't see anything on our screen, and that is because we never added the blueprint, the widget blueprint, to our BP third person character. So we're just going to click somewhere around here. Actually, I've realised I've just spelled that completely wrong. If you're wondering why my node's like this, I've just collapsed them. I'm not sure if I added that into the video. But yeah, we're going to change some of this stuff now. So I'm going to set the max walk speed to 150, which is what I want it at. I feel like that'll be a little bit better for this game, so when we actually stop sprinting, it'll be at 150, and it'll be like really slow walk. And then when we sprint, we actually sprint, and it's really noticeable. Basically, because I want people to be sprinting. Sorry, I want people to be walking when they run out of stamina. I don't want them to be like jogging. So let's get the max walk speed by not typing it in here. We actually need to type it in the right hand side. So let's select character movement, and we're going to change the max walk speed. I'm going to change this to 150 and 100 for the crouched. The reason I'm doing this is because we don't want the normal walk speed to be like 750. We want them to be walking by default at 150. And there we go. When we actually sprint, it looks like we're actually doing something now. but we still can't see our stamina, so we actually need to add that to the BP third person character. So let's just right click, and we're going to get event begin play, and then out of event begin play we're going to search for our widget blueprint. This is called WB stats. That's the one we're using. So let's create a widget just like this, drag out, create a widget, and then the class is going to be our WB stats, just like that. Out of the return value, we're going to add to viewport, and this will add it to our screen. If we compile and play now, we actually have a stamina bar. And when we hold shift, the stamina depletes, but as you can see, it is still not working. This is basically why I wanted to make the widget blueprint on the screen, so we can actually display it and we can debug it a little bit better. So I'm just going to comment this, adding the stats widget to the screen, just like that. But we need to change the values of our stamina and our sprinting. So what I'm actually going to do is, let me just change all this. Change this to green. And you know what, while we're here, I'm actually going to change the rest to green as well. So all the green ones are the ones that we've created in the past for this tutorial series. So I don't want the player to run too fast, so I'm going to set the max walk speed to 500 for the top value. And then let's just change some of these other values. So let's just drag out here first. I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to press C. Now this is for you guys who's watching, so you basically know like which bits are changing, like which bits actually do something. So this is going to be how fast the stamina drains. This is going to be per 5 seconds because that's what we've got on the delay. So every 5 seconds, the stamina will drain by 0.2. And then we're going to do this same for this one down here as well. Just to make it easier, so it's easier to change on the fly, so you can tailor it for how you want your game to feel. So how fast you basically gain stamina every 5 seconds, because that's the delay on the right hand side. So for me personally, I want to drain faster than I gain. So I want the stamina to drop quite fast. I want it to like gain slow. So you have to actually prioritize when you use your sprint. Right, so I've skipped ahead a little bit. This is a couple of episodes ahead of what I'm releasing today. But I was thinking, why is the stamina not working? Like, why can I spam sprint and it's still like replenishing the stamina? And it's because I completely forgot to actually add the nodes in. So here are my values. Just check your values are the same when you get to the end of the video, just like this. So here, max walk speed, all the delays, 0.15 for me. You can obviously change these if you want. But see the little bit of code above? This is what we need to add. So we're going to get our stamina. And this is going to be, so when we hit 0 on our stamina, or less than 30%, we're actually going to delay the ability to sprint for a few seconds. So if I put 10 here, so if our stamina is less than 10, then obviously it won't work because our stamina is just 1. It's either 0 or like in between 0 and 1. So let's do 0.3. That'll make it 30% of the max stamina. Hopefully that made sense. Let's connect this to false. And then out of the true value, so if our stamina is less or equal to 30% of the max, then we will delay the ability to sprint for 3 seconds. Now, if you need to rewind that and go back on that, I do understand. It even took me a couple of, well, actually about an hour staring at the screen to actually fix this. I could not find out where it was. I was checking each node and I realised I'd not even added the node. So yeah, so this node here, this little delay out of true is going to be when the stamina hits 0 or 30%, whatever you want. It's going to delay for this amount of seconds, so we're not going to be able to sprint for 3 seconds. It just stops people spamming it or like kind of like abusing this little like bug. That's what I would call it. But yeah, that's basically what we're going to do here. And then the value below, which is the 0.3, is going to be like how little you want the stamina to be before you actually activate the delay. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing here. I'm just quickly going to comment this stuff so we don't all get mixed up. It should be easy to come back to and just change and tailor for your game. And I don't know why I keep putting the percentage sign on the wrong side, but you know, it's been a long day. Right, okay, so I think it's going to be time to go and test this. So let's just click play, see what happens. And as you can see, we have the stamina and we have the health, which we've not created yet, but we'll be doing that soon. And the stamina is no longer spammable, so we can't just like go to 0 and keep spamming the sprint button to gain stamina again. So it's looking pretty good. In the next episode, obviously, I'm going to make the health system, as you've seen just on your screen a minute ago. We're going to add some damage as well, so we can actually like walk into like, I don't know, maybe some fire and we'll lose health and stuff. But yeah, I'll catch you next time. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate if you like and subscribe. Peace.